Follow that tune. Yo, yo, I'm Nick. I sat alone last night at the pre-release, just like in high school. And this is Nick's Lotus. Been seeing a lot of people talking about win conditions, bombs, what to remove and what not to remove, yada yada yada, yada yada yada, order type shit. This seems to be a topic that draws some passion out of the community, and rightfully so, but to me this is all falling under the umbrella of threat assessment. As I said in a past video, I have a buddy of mine who actually stopped playing casual Commander because people were just so bad at threat assessment. Games would just end in dumb and unmeaningful ways, with players who played way worse oftentimes winning. Now, threat assessment is a nut this squirrel hasn't quite cracked yet. Or at least it was. I've tried making videos on it, I've sent ideas I've had for things like a point system for cards to the community, and that just didn't work. This one aspect of Magic was so complex, it was stumping me over and over and over again, until I talked to some of you guys on the Discord about Rule 0 pre-game discussions and came to a conclusion. These 3 pre-game questions solved threat assessment for me. Threat assessment is a skill that separates good Commander players from great Commander players, and nobody teaches it. You'll find videos on deck building, on card evaluation, on the best commanders in every color combination. You'll find some weird chubby guy in a pink hat finding obscure cards for you, sure. But sit down at a table with 4 strangers and try to figure out who's about to end the game and how, and you're on your own. And the thing is, most people don't even think about this until it's too late. You're reacting to what's already happening on board, pointing a removal at whatever looks scariest in the moment, and half the time you're just dead wrong. You blew your counterspell on that wrong thing. You blew it. You tried to counterspell my spell. It didn't work. You blew it. You let the real threats sit there unbothered, and then out of nowhere, the game is over, and you're trying to figure out what just happened. I've been playing Commander for years, and I've tried everything to crack this. I've used a bracket system, a power level chart, a point system. None of it gave me what I actually needed, which was to read my opponents before the game even started to get an accurate representation on when and what I should be worried about for each player at the table. That's what these 3 questions are going to do. They get everybody ahead of the information curve before a single card has even been played. Before we get into anything, remember to check out nixlotus.com to try out our Scryfall tool, check out the viewer-submitted decks, or pick up some merch to support the channel. And if you see any cards in today's video you're thinking about picking up yourself, or you're going to place an order anyway, consider using the channel's TCG player link below. That helps me out a ton. Huge thanks to the channel members that you can see on screen for all the support. Links in the description. Let's get into this. I think the root of threat assessment is timing. The point in time that a thing happens in the game is equally, if not more important than the actual thing that happened. Timing in a game really does matter. So the first question that I would ask at a table before you even get into the game is this one. On average, what turn is your deck winning by? What turn's your deck winning by? Not losing, but winning. This question gives you a clock, and in Commander, knowing whose clock is ticking the fastest is everything. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Control decks win late game, aggro decks go early. This question doesn't work for every deck, but that's kind of the point. When someone tells you their average win turn, they're handing you a threat timeline, a literal cheat sheet on how to deal with them. It just clarifies. You know what I mean? That Krenko Mob Boss doesn't have to be an aggro deck. He could be going for late game goblins or something like that. That Saruman deck that cost 1 billion mana might actually be going for an aggro strategy you don't know. It's very nice to clarify. Let's say a player is running a big 6-mana commander like Alenda and Azor and tells you they're usually closing games out turn 7 or 8. That tells you their deck is well tuned. They're not just casting their commander, crossing their fingers and hoping. They've got an actual game plan going on that they're going to execute within the next couple turns after playing their commander. So that player is easily going to become a threat in the mid game. So around turns maybe 5 or 6, building up to the turn 7 or 8 where they usually win, watch out for what that player's doing. That's probably where your threat assessment eye should be focused. On the other hand, if someone tells you they're usually winning around turn 12 or later, you've got some breathing room if it's only turn 4, so save some of your interaction for the right moment. Now, this one question is very useful, but it alone will not accurately determine what you should be threat assessing. It, combined with the following 2 questions, definitely has helped me figure out what I should be taking out, what I should be focusing on in a game of Commander. So, what is question 2? Question 2 is, do you usually kill all the players at once? This one tells you how to worry about someone, not just when. A player who says they tend to take out the whole table at once is packing a finisher, a combo line, a massive board wipe into lethal swing, an infinite that ends it, something that doesn't leave survivors. That player isn't going to telegraph their win by picking off one opponent and giving everyone else time to respond, or building up value. When they move, the game is over. Now combine this with an answer to the previous question of, oh, I plan to win around 7 or 8. Around turn 7 or 8, you should probably be holding up mana for counterspells spells and removal because something's gonna go down. Now, a player who says they take out one player at a time is a different kind of threat. They're still dangerous, but they're giving the table windows. You might as well let them take care of some of the other opponents before you decide to deal with them. Wait till they start pointing some of the stuff at you to actually use your resources on them. Now, like I said, combine both questions. If someone says they usually end a game on turn 8 and they take out the whole table at once, and it's turn 6 and they haven't done anything threatening yet, or there's potential on the board to interact with to take out everyone at once, everyone at the table should have their eyes on that player. And I know what you're gonna say, because I've been saying it too in my back of my head this whole video so far. What if people are unwilling to answer this question? That's fine. I feel like a lot of people are probably going to be willing to answer these, but if they're not, take your own statistics in your brain. You know what I mean? That player takes everyone out every time. Now I'm going to figure out on average what time that player wins every game. Okay, the last 7 games that player has won, it has been on turn 9. Okay, so he kills everyone all at once. He wins on turn 9. Turn 7, 8. I'm going to probably hold up some removal and counter spells to make sure we're suppressing anything to go down at that moment. You know what I mean? The questions don't necessarily have to be answered, but they're questions you can ask yourself while you're playing the game as well. But like I said, no one of these questions is going to like give you the threat assessment outline. All 3 of them combined is where this really becomes useful. So we have a third question that we still need to ask the table, which is, what is your deck's theme? This might be the most obvious question on the list and easily the most overlooked one. People assume they already know the strategy of the deck just based off the commander. Oh, you're running Krenko? It's a goblin aggro deck. And that guy's sitting there going, sure, it's actually an equipment deck and I just make a shit ton of goblins with Krenko alone, and then the rest of the deck is equipments and I use equipment synergies to like buff up my little tokens. But no, yeah, it's that. Knowing the theme of a deck alongside the first 2 questions is what gives you the whole picture here. Question 1 tells you when to worry. Question 2 tells you how it ends, and question 3 tells you what to look for. If an opponent says they're winning on turn 7 or 8, they take out the whole table at once, and they're running a token deck, that impact triggers on the board around turn 6 or 7 just became a whole lot more threatening now. You know the clock, you know the kill condition, now you know the card. If a player says they're winning around turn 10, for example, they remove 1 player at a time, and they're running an exalted deck, let's say. You're not panicking over their early board, you're watching for evasion pieces like Rogue's Passage in case they try to one-shot you, and you're saving your removal for when they try to do that. That's the whole system. 3 questions asked before a single card is played, and you walk into a game with an actual game plan instead of flying in there blind, not knowing what the hell's going on. But like I said, remember to check out nixlotus.com to try out our Scryfall tool, check out the viewer submitted decks, or pick up some merch to support the channel. And if you saw any cards in today's video, or you're about to place an order anyway, consider using the channel's TCG player link in the description when placing that order. Huge thanks to the members for all the support that you can see on screen. Links in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.